One of the big stories today, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is stepping down. The justice has served more than 27 years on the court. He is expected to send a letter to President Biden by the end of the week and step down at the end of the current term. His retirement is not believed to be health related. He is 83 years old. He is one of 3 liberal justices on the court. He was appointed by President Clinton in 1994. His departure will allow President Biden to nominate another liberal jurist to fill his seat. The Supreme Court's next term begins October 3rd. And so now begins the discussion of what's next.
And while running for office, you probably remember, President Biden said he would appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court. For more perspective and analysis on this, we want to bring in Dr. Norman Provizer, a political science expert with MSU Denver. Dr. Provizer, thank you for being here. We just want to start, let's start with Justice Breyer before we talk about what comes next. What do you think his legacy is going to be on this court?
I think he's never been a justice to seek the limelight. He's been a compromiser in many ways. I mean, he's clearly in the quote what we call the liberal camp. Named by President Clinton to the court, nominated to be on the court. But he's also voted in a variety of different ways. He has, for example, been author of opinions or concurring opinions that don't always just clearly go along. It's not, that he never votes some other ways, unexpected ways. And that's because he's very pragmatic, all of those things. None of those items, however, really put you in line to be known as a great justice of the Supreme Court. Those are not the things. It's having a very compelling point of view and following it very clearly. That could put you in the arena, and then it depends on other things. So I think he's been a very good justice. Has he been, a great justice that we will remember through the ages? That's unlikely, I believe.
So now as we talk about what's next, we're talking about the timeline, because it could get tricky with midterms. And let's be honest, this has changed over time. It's become so political. The Democrats are saying they really want a speedy process. What challenges will President Biden and the Democrats face now in this nomination process?
Well, the first one is who you come up with as a nominee for that position. Now, that's not the sole determinant by any means, but it is one about who is it going to be? That's going to shape the debate very much. Now, sometimes it really doesn't matter. When Merrick Garland was nominated for the court, when the Democrats had a majority, President Obama, it didn't really matter who he was. That was a separate battle. That was a battle that the Republicans had decided they were going to do something that had never been done in Supreme Court history. We've rejected, Congress, the Senate has rejected nominees, but it's never refused to have a hearing on it. And you could argue that action itself is unconstitutional because they're charged with holding hearings, but they wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it.
We watched that. About the who, and there's been some names thrown out there. We know a couple of front runners, but I want to focus on what exactly specifically will President Biden be looking for in this replacement?
Well, part of it is that in some ways, by indicating a general category of people that he was looking to put on the court, African-American women. I mean, he said that, no one forced him to say it. There's a reason for it. African-American women are enormous, kind of pillars of democratic elections, especially presidential and federal elections. So he said that. That puts him in a bit of a box. And so I think right now what I've run across today is everyone's talking about a number, 5 or so with an emphasis on one, African-American women judges that seem to going to be providing the pool. Otherwise, it would be an open season and we could be talking about all kinds of people. That's because that's still a barrier that's never been taken down.
Well, we know we're going to be talking to you more in the weeks and months ahead as we go through this process. It's always an important one that we should pay attention to in our country.
Yep, such a huge decision, and we will be watching and checking in with you. Thank you for making the time for us today.